it's a great opportunity. We've lucked out with weather this year. It's been unbelievable, and we're going to have, it'll be in the 40s at kickoff with not much wind for the forecast, so it won't be very cold, which is awesome. Boise, November game in Boise can be miserable. We played there before when it's been foot of snow and 3 degrees, so it'll be a great opportunity to go get better. They've got a great football team that's playing at a high level. Coach Avalos is doing a really good job. Coach Plow on offense they've kind of figured out their rhythm. They're very explosive. They've got 3 good running backs that they rotate. Bachmeier's really good quarterback, who I knew a lot about when I was recruiting the Inland Empire. He's from Marietta Valley area. Khalil Shakir is a really, really dynamic receiver. Anytime they try and find need a play, they go to him. And then Coach Avalos, obviously, his history, he's very similar as he played at Boise to my path. Went on, he was defense coordinator at Oregon, and they were very successful the last 2 years. And then he's got them humming again on defense this year. They're playing – the last 3 weeks they played really well. It's funny, you hear Boise's having a down year. Well, they lost to Central Florida on really a fluke. They had them down 21-0. They lose to Oklahoma State, who's a top 10 team in the country. Air Force is playing really, really good, and it's a down year. So, they still have a chance to get into the championship, which that's really neat for their program. That's how they're talked about. Having a down year and you still have a chance to the championship. Now they need a little bit of help. They need either us or Wyoming to beat Utah State in the last 2 weeks, and then they need to win out. And it's a great opportunity for us to go and compete. We're obviously not a very good football team, but we've got the right attitude. They'll fight and compete. The second half Saturday being a 10-7 score, there's no moral victories, but that could have easily been 70-0 if our kids give in, and they're not. They're trying to do things right. We just need to get more talent, and we need to execute better. We made a lot of mistakes on Saturday, which gave Fresno opportunities, especially early. The second play of the game, we can't throw a ball like that into coverage. We need to take care of it, tuck it, and run and get what we can and keep moving the sticks. And then Aaron Dumas, obviously, Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Week, did some really nice things. When he gets bigger and stronger, he's going to have that'll be a 300-yard day. He probably got tackled by their corners one-on-one 6 or 7 times. That could have been explosive plays, and it's a matter of strength. I mentioned it. We played 18 true freshmen Saturday. We played the amount of freshmen that were playing. Those guys have never been in an off-season weight program for a full term. So, it speaks volumes about where they need to get to continue to be successful. But if you're watching closely, you can see improvement. I know that the result, 34-7, doesn't look like it, but there's a lot of guys out there that are getting better. We don't have enough talent yet to be competitive if we're not perfect. We can be competitive if we play really, really well and don't make mistakes, and that's what we did against Wyoming. We played really, really well within ourselves, and then we made plays. On defense the last 2 weeks, we haven't been good enough on third down. 8-16 against UNLV, 10-17 Saturday, and then Jake Hainer he's a really good quarterback, and going 24 for 31. We don't make enough plays in the secondary to get off the field and to put the quarterback in distress. So we've got to continue to get better. The only chance we have at that is their attitude being right, and I think they have the right attitude. Go ahead, Brandon.
Coach Avalos, what do you think's been his stamp on that program as a former player, alum? He came in with a lot of energy.
For sure. One, I think it's if you look at Boise State, the history of that program started as a junior college where they were very successful in football, went to the 1AA level where they were very successful in football. They made a commitment, I think it was in '96, to go from the Big Sky to be an FBS program. We're very quick all the way. 2005, the Fiesta Bowl win that they had over Oklahoma. They made a commitment to be good, and he was a part of that early on, so he knows what it's like and what the expectation is there. So it was an easy choice when Coach Harsin left to Auburn. And he obviously had success at Oregon, was very successful. We got to compete against each other in 2019. I got the better end of him, so hopefully we'll have the better end of him against Saturday. I reminded him of that. We're pretty good buddies, so we recruited a lot together in the Inland Empire. He had the Inland Empire when he was at Boise, and I had it when I was at San Diego State, so we'd run into each other and recruited a lot of the same kids. And so he understands what their expectation is. He understands the history of the program, and he didn't try and make wholesale changes. Tim Plow's out of that tree, coming from UC Davis. So he kept a lot of things familiar because they've been very successful. And that's smart. And he's a great football coach. Schematically, they do a really good job on defense. They're multiple up front, and they give you a lot of pressures. They do a lot of zone blitzing. They're still learning some of the stuff that's different over the last 2 years. Now, Spencer Danielson, he's their defensive coordinator, he's 32 years old, does a great job. He worked a lot of camps for us in recruiting when we were at San Diego State. He's a great young football coach, and Coach Avalos is really helping build him. And so they've got continuity on their staff. They know each other, and they know the Boise way, which is why they're continuing success. Now, obviously, people say it's a down year, and what I said earlier, that's crazy.
What has it been like watching Bryson Carroll come back out onto the field and try to help you guys out? Like, what has that been like from your perspective?
I thought it's been awesome. So when we sat in the staff room on Sunday after UNLV, obviously we're going to redshirt CJ. And so we're getting thin at that spot. I mean, obviously Isaiah wasn't 100% healthy, and Bryson Carroll's been around. I give Bryson Carroll a hard time about his fumble against Colorado State in 19, or was it 18? 19. Okay. And he's done a great job. So he wants to get into coaching. His dad's a great high school coach back in San Antonio, and he wants to get into coaching, and he'd been through a lot here. A lot of those kids have been through a lot of stuff here over the time. And he decided that he thought it would be better if he did. Now he's young, so he stays in shape. He works out. And he got to an idea from the coaching side of it. And then on Sunday I said, if we get somebody hurt, we can put Austin Erickson back there. We can put Andrew Erickson back there. But we got a option quarterback from high school that was recruited to be a quarterback here, still sitting in here. And he kind of looked around. Said, yes, I'm talking about you, Bryson. So we did some stuff, and we had been thinking about it when we were getting thin, and he's been on the roster. So, technically he's been on the roster. So it wasn't, we had to go through the acclimatization period, but he was ready to go. He was huffing and puffing a little bit the first day because football shape was a little bit different, but he'd been able to work out and do things. So during the week, he got a little bit familiar. We were using him as a look, and then now we've got him an opportunity he can get in there, and he's gotten more familiar with just the function of what we're doing. And it shows what a true Lobo he is and how committed he is, and he can help in any way he can, and his opportunity might be to help on the field. So South Carolina probably started a trend. They had a GA as their starting quarterback, and now we got Bryson, so really proud of him.
And behind that, I was talking to you about Corey Hightower last week, and that card got nuked. So I want to ask you about him again. Like, I was talking to him, and he was just saying that how you said kids have gone through a lot. He was saying the same thing. He said that you guys came. He said he just couldn't believe somebody gave him a chance, and he's just so glad he got an opportunity.
Corey's, he's going to be the only Lobo in the history of this program to letter 5 times, which is kind of a cool deal because of the COVID year he got. He's probably played the amount of reps as a redshirt freshman, and he's a senior. And he's just now kind of coming into his true ability at being corner. Now he knows he's not the fastest guy, so he has to be really, really good in technique. And he's really been able to succumb to that and adjust, and he's become a really good player over there, very reliable. Got his first interception against Wyoming, and I thought that was the difference that started that game and turned it around. We didn't turn the ball over, and we took care of it, and we took it away. Last week against UNLV, he had a tough play on the 75-yard touchdown, and they tried to do it to him again on Saturday. And he made a nice job. At one point, very similar play, he tackled the guy and got a pass interference penalty, which is what we coach. If you get beat on a double move, just don't let him go score. And he did. So he's getting the experience of a redshirt freshman as a senior, which is too bad, but he didn't have an opportunity before. And we got a bunch of those guys that believe in it, and Coach Revitt's doing a great job with him. And I'm really proud of Corey because he's throwing his body around like we want him to. And he's doing a really good job setting examples for Corian Francis, Xavier Haley, the young corners that A.J. Odoms, that we expect to be really good players over the next couple of years, and they're watching a guy that did get an opportunity early on, make the most of the opportunity he's getting now.
Coach G,
Yes.
we asked Bryson about the first conversation that you had with him when you asked him, do you think you want to be a quarterback again? I'd like to ask you what that first conversation was like, his reaction, your reaction to his reaction, just how did it go?
Well, I mean, I think he was, the reality of it was a little bit off guard for him because, I mean, he had transitioned over being into coaching. And then I like to joke around with Bryson a lot ever since I've got here because of that CSU deal. And gave him a hard time about wanting to have an opportunity to succumb that so I can forget about it. And I think it would put a smile on his face. And he said, it's a big decision when you go from doing nothing, being a coach, and then you get the opportunity to play. And I think he realized that he did miss it more than he thought he did. And then just a smile on his face. I mean, he came in the next morning. We had to give him an early morning workout. Just that spark in his eye of the opportunity, again, just exciting. And I'm proud of him because he could have said no. I mean, I didn't tell him he didn't have a choice. He didn't have a choice, but I didn't tell him he didn't have a choice, so it was good. Go ahead, Beth.
You've been very vocal about the program, where they are, where your team is at. Is being eliminated from bowl contention something that you thought about? Did it affect your team in any way, or is it kind of an afterthought?
I don't think it's affected them. I tell our team everything that I say publicly. I don't pull punches with them. We're not a good football team. They understand that. They understand the path that we have to go. I think the seniors, and I meet with those guys every morning at 7:15 before we start our team meeting. And I mean, a couple of those guys, or the majority of those guys, are about to hit real life in the face in about 2 weeks. And some of them have no idea what they're going to do. So the fact that we can't go to a bowl game hasn't changed their mentality. They still have 2 opportunities to enjoy a locker room after the game. And the group last year was in the same situation, except they were 0-5 and went into it and prepared themselves and got themselves an opportunity, and we won a couple games. That's the opportunity that they have to finish with the memories and help build this going forward. And they knew over a 3-year period, and I talk about junior college recruiting and what junior college recruiting is at New Mexico, and with the transfer portal, what it is, and how, at New Mexico, even when we were here before, and at San Diego State and those places, the top junior college teams or players in the country, they're recruited by everybody. And so it's very, very similar to high school recruiting, is you have to evaluate guys and project them. Well, the problem with projecting them is you don't have them for very long. 3 years max if you redshirt a guy. And you don't usually want to recruit a junior college kid to redshirt him. Well, in a 3-year period prior to us getting here, we took 64 junior college kids and redshirted the majority of them. And so then when we get them, we only have 1 year, and then we end up with a COVID year. And I love all those kids. I really do. I don't lie to them. I tell them that, we're talent deficient. And what they've done for the University of New Mexico is they've given their heart and soul, and they've done everything that they can to help us. And we've had bits and pieces of success, but you have to build from a place like this from your early classes on. And they understand that. A lot of them, it was the only opportunity they had to play football was to come here. So they're very appreciative of that. And I think for the bunch of them that stayed with the extra year, the 14 of them that stayed, they put in a lot to it. I think they've been very appreciative of the opportunity to be a part of something that we're trying to build and laying the foundation. And I think they've taken that on. And that's a hard thing to do when a new coach comes in and all he talks is how good we're going to be 4 or 5 years down the road, but you've got an entire football team right here. And I need you guys to lay the foundation for us to be good later. So it's like a guy coming in and saying, you're not really important because the success that comes later. And that hasn't been our mission because they are so important to what we're trying to do. And I say it a lot in coaching. if they know that you have their best interest at heart and that you'll go through anything for them, they're willing to fight for you. They understand that we're not going to have the success that they wanted and envisioned when they came in. They see the vision, but they have a great responsibility. And I talked about the past, the present, future of Lobo football. Well, their present right now is building for the future and all those guys that came beyond them. And I'm so proud of them for the effort that they put in, because it would have been very easy to say, you know what, screw this, I'm out of here. I'm going to move on with my life. I don't want this anymore. And they haven't done that. And it shows the fight that they show in the second half. Now, a bunch of them aren't playing, but they're the spirit of our team. And so I'm super proud of those guys, and we have 2 more weeks to fight together.
Is Bryson just for emergency, or is he like your Taysom Hill? He's going to come in every once in a while when you need him?
I think we got Bryson over the next 2 weeks with an opportunity to play now that he's feeling a little bit more comfortable. And it really will all depend on how healthy we can get Isaiah. Obviously, you saw Isaiah wasn't full speed on Saturday, and that affected some of the things that we try and do. So as Bryson gets comfortable, we'll have some opportunities to get him in there. And then, obviously, if Isaiah can't go, he's going to be the first one in.
Again, earlier in the season, you said a lot. I mean, basically all the players are buying in and they want to be part of it. Do you still feel the same way now?
I think it's gotten stronger. I really do. Like I said, what we asked them to do is not easy, and we do things different than what they did when we weren't here. When you talk about a culture change, and I've said this before, I don't know what the culture was here before as far as the football team, their expectations, it doesn't really matter. You don't always have to change the culture because it's bad. You have to put your own identity on it, and they understand what my identity is. They know who I am. If you had a bunch of guys that didn't believe in what we're doing and didn't believe in the process, you'd see a bunch of them that would quit on Saturday and say, here we go again. They don't do that. They fight and fight and fight. Now there's certain ones that at the end of the year might decide that this isn't for them, and that's okay. That's okay in any industry. If you put in a whole bunch of work and you decide the work ain't worth it and it's way too hard, then move on and do something else. So I think the ones that the core of our football team, and the core of our football team right now is the freshmen and sophomores, because those are the guys those are the majority of them that are playing, and they're going to be the ones that have the longest time with us here. So, I mean, they understand the fight that we want, and we've got to continue to recruit more talented kids.
You said Langston's out for the season.
Most likely.
Anybody else out for the season? Do you expect Randy Lowe to be back?
Do not expect Manny back. Langston probably won't be back. Don't expect Terry back. And then the freshmen that we're redshirting, those guys that we've decided, like Shenko and CJ and Andrell Barney, those guys we won't waste the fifth game on them. We'll continue to develop those guys in practice, just like Rico Hanna, develop him in practice, and they're getting good reps with the good on good. And then we'll start spring ball in mid-February, and we'll focus on the 2022 football team.
Is that hard for you? You name guys like Langston, Terry, Manny, crucial people at the beginning of the season. We're not going to see them again.
Yeah, I'm really more disappointed for them because, I mean, very few people make it to the NFL, and competitive football is one of the funnest things in the world. That's why these guys do it. That's why they're here. Now they have the opportunity to earn a degree off of that, and that's their God-given ability and their parents and upbringing, and then the opportunities they've been fortunate to give them that chance to leave school debt-free, which is unbelievable. I mean, my favorite stat that we use in recruiting is 93% of people that go to an American university leave with debt, whether it's student loans, credit cards, own mom and dad, somebody. And these young men have an opportunity to be one of the 7% of America that starts with a foot forward because they don't owe anybody in money and they have a degree. So the fact that those three that this is their last football, I mean, it breaks my heart for them. And obviously we'd be a better football team if they were playing. So, I mean, that's the worst part, though, is that they don't really understand that until next year when they see their football team suiting up and they don't get to play, And it's really the second, third year that it hurts the most. And then if a couple of them have a chance in the NFL, then they're going to have to work their tails off to go do that.
Does Terry still have any type of role with the team?
I mean, he's not playing, but he comes and does the normal stuff that everybody else is required to do. But he's not. Obviously, it hasn't healed the way we'd want it to, and I feel bad for Terry.
Coach G?
Yes.
You talk, culture comes up a lot, and one of the things that Bryson said when we talked with him was that he's 5 years here now, and there's so much that he's gained from this program. There's so much he's gotten from you and your staff that he felt like 3 weeks at a minimum was the least he could do to give back. And I thought that was pretty telling with regard to what you're building. How does that make you feel to hear that from him? And I know you think of the world of him, but the example it also sets for his teammates and the younger players.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my vision of this job is, I mean, there's so much that goes into it. The bottom line is you have to build a team to win games because that's what we're here for. That's why they hired me. My job, the way I view it, is to set these young men up to be better people for our community, to help them become great young men, and if we have any women, because those are the majority of the guys that come on scholarship here. And it's funny, during recruiting, they don't believe it. They don't leave. They're a part of Albuquerque forever. And so the better job we do with them, showing them how real life is going to be, the better chance we have of an entire community being successful. I mean, if you've seen all of the alumni that are on the sideline before games, it's been awesome lately. A lot of those guys still live here. And then the ones that don't live here try and come back 2 or 3 times a year. The football program and the university is a significant part of their lives. And so we have to do the best job we can. And when I talk about the family atmosphere, I think we have a bunch of great coaches that are good fathers, good husbands, good men. That's the example they see. I mean, you see my daughters here a lot, and you see my sons here on game day when my oldest is not working, and my second one's here from college at ASU. They get to see me be a dad. They get to see me be a husband. And I think that's extremely important. I mean, I love my wife to death, and I treat her the best that I can in every opportunity. I mean, Sunday night, my littlest one, we have dinner here for the families and players on Sunday night after meetings. She came into the team meeting while I was up in front of the team talking to them. In a lot of situations, she might get her face ripped off. But she came up, stood next to me, and we got to finish talking to them because they get to see me be a dad. And I think that's important in their growing up and in their maturing process. So Bryson, to say those things, the point's getting across to them, and I think it helps them for their life, what they're going through right now, the adversity that they're going through right now, and not quitting will help them down the road because life ain't easy, and it can be mean and nasty, especially if you don't handle things right. And it's no different than the emotion and passion when they lose their minds on the sideline or in practice and they want to fight and do all those things. I mean, those are examples that we talk about. When you lose your temper with your wife, you can't do that. When you lose your temper with your girlfriend, you can't make her feel threatened and do that. You have to be able to control those things. Those are everyday life lessons. And I think it makes me proud that obviously Bryson's listening to it and appreciating the time. And the character of our football team will help with the not having the most talent. We'll have enough talent. And then the outside factors are the difference between having a great program and an okay program. What else? Anything?
We're good.
Awesome. We'll see you all in Boise on Saturday. Great opportunity, and then a quick turnaround to Utah State. And it's a wonderful time of year. I mean, Joe's going to win a national championship on Saturday with his crew. Hopefully, no pressure. And I mean, we got a nice plaque down there on the Bosque that I run by. It's time we put 2015, put 2021 next to it. Volleyball has a big week this week to try and qualify for the conference tournament. So John and them I know they'll have a chance they'll win their game. They got to beat Fresno, and who else?
They play Air Force tonight.
Air Force tonight, and then Fresno, and then what a great deal last night for Richard and the boys over there. I mean, it's exciting, and we do play tonight. Mike and the girls play tonight, so Lobo Athletics is amazing, and keep the faith. It's going to be a whole lot of fun around here. I know it's frustrating. I promise you, the 34-7 is frustrating to everybody. We're making progress, and I said it from the very beginning. Year 2 was going to be miserable, and I hate losing. Oh my God, you have no idea. But the good days are coming, I promise. So keep the faith.